All right, everybody. So, technical issues aside, welcome to the Collector Safe Space. It's your boy Dre, and today I got a real special guest. I not only was double booked today and StreamYard going crazy and internet acting funny, I have Mr. Colbert, who has been very, very well known in his career for several live action roles, but how we all know him is the love of the great hip hop artist Killer B from Naruto Shippuden, and Boruto. Mr.
Yeah,
Colbert, welcome to the show.
what's going on?
Oh man, it's great. I love all this craziness. So I want to start at the beginning with you. What
Okay,
got you interested in the role of Killer B for Naruto? Like, what
oh,
got you there?
okay. I was I got an audition. There was another actor. I think his name is Reno Wilson, who had the part of Killer B, and he had done like one or two episodes, I think, and he had another job. I think it was the sitcom Mike and Mallory or whatever that show
Yeah,
was. He played like the cop best friend on it. And when you're on a sitcom, you have a really heavy schedule, and I don't think that he was able to be at the sessions when Viz needed him to be for them to be delivered to Cartoon Network or whoever it was back then. I think it was Cartoon Network. And so it was like really quick. They needed somebody to replace him, and they were like, let's call in like 4 or 5 dudes. And I was the dude that day that guessed right what Killer B should sound like. Fool, you
I,
fool. Yeah.
I love it. Now, here's where it's going to sound really bad for me.
Yeah.
I am one of those fans that is a diehard fan of the subtitle original Japanese audio.
You like
But
the sub.
yes, I'm a big sub lover.
Right on.
But I actually heard your voice, and when I put the two from the American to listening to the Japanese version, I find you actually the superior
I've
because
heard,
you
yeah,
fit.
I've heard that before. Well, here's what I think that is okay. So Killer B was sort of based on the vibe of Wu Tang. That's where they got the name Killer B from. So American hip hop, and then so I was trying to bring in the essence of that. So I think I sort of flow with the rhyme and the aesthetic of that goes back because I as a kid I watched Enter the 36 Chambers and Wu Tang versus Shaolin and
Mm.
Drunken Master and all those type of shows. So I sort of knew what it was based on. Was based on, and then what was that was based on after that. And I think I sort of coalesced with it.
Oh, you definitely did because
Yeah.
I love that you got the vibe because I
Uh-oh.
mean we all know
Yep.
that in the original like 36 chambers like because I've seen all those. I love used to live when I lived in New York. Chopsaki Cinema, they used to call it when they used to
Right.
play it
Yeah.
on Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'd have like the really bad, like, I'm going to get you. You're going to see this. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hated that a lot of American actors would always like translate that over
Right.
to
Yeah.
things. But I think that his portrayal in the Japanese version is actually very much like that for
Oh,
like
right on.
a very Japanese sound, you know? Oh no.
Sorry.
There we go. No, that's all right. So I was in I want to go a little bit deeper into this. So I see that when I read a little bit about you, and I want to kind of know. So both your parents were involved in the industry,
Yeah.
and
My my
that's what got you started.
my dad is a musician. He was in a band called the American Breed, and in the '60s they had a huge hit called "Bend Me, Shape Me Any Way You Want Me," and they had a bunch of other songs. That was like their biggest one, and that group sort of absolved, and it turned into like most of the members went into Rufus, which became Shaka Khan and Rufus, and he's been making music and still makes music to this day. And my mom was an actress, so I sort of grew up. Not sort. I grew up in a an artistic family. Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay,
So
yeah.
so now when you parlay that into your career now,
Yeah.
was the young little, Mr. Colbert, were you just like, I'm gonna be that kind of actor? Like you kind of had that vibe starting up, like kind of like the joke like Eddie Murphy did when he was in Raw, like that he was telling jokes like then.
100%. I was always like that, crazy kid in the room telling jokes and acting up and sort of like, entertaining people. So it was really a natural thing for me to get into the industry. Yeah. And I started when I was really young, dude. Like six. I think I did my first job. I was like 6 or 8 years old. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
man. I wish. I always love acting was always one of my favorite little passions of mine. I did a lot of the plays in school, and
Right. Yeah.
I it's like I did set design when I was in high school, and then when we
Hmm.
got to college, it was like I was like, I would love to do this, and then I tried, but I could never. I don't think I had the confidence to like pursue it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so having that background with your parents always being involved in that industry, did you felt like that was like your permanent confidence boost, that you could always be like, mom, dad, I want to do this, and you knew you were going to have that support? Or was it still even difficult coming up, like I guess anybody else that was not ever in that industry?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've always had, and I think it's more comfort than confidence. Like I don't know how, because I've always had moments as I'm a human being. I go, can I do that, or is this all right? But I do have a level of comfort within acting in the entertainment industry, and I think that's what it's what's like my comfortable place. Like I love being on set. For me, the work is uh, auditioning, driving to auditions, dealing with contracts and agents and managers and all that kind of stuff. But the in between action and cut, that's not work, man. That's like it's what it's all. That's what it's all for. All the other stuff is the work, memorizing lines, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I know that Naruto, the Killer Bee role, was not your first role into the foray field of anime. You were in another anime series or several other series.
I've been
Could
in
you?
a couple other things. I was, I don't know, I can't remember them all, man.
I had to IMDb a little bit and do my
I
do my due
I
diligence.
was on Cannon Busters on Netflix. I'm now in. Oh man, I play Otsunimaya in Bleach, Thousand Years Blood War, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I was Cold Cast. I mean, I'm very lucky and very privileged to have been in a lot of really awesome productions.
Now, are you into? Since you said you were into like a lot of the old school hip hop
Yeah,
and anime, I guess like hip hop and martial arts. Were you ever into anime growing up as a kid and got it like parlayed into the career, or is this something that you got into as the in the field
I've
for your
always
work?
been into animation, and when I was a little kid, I loved, I loved, from Asia, I loved G-Force, which is, Got Your Mind, and Robotech, Voltron,
Hitting
and
you right
those
in the feels.
right on those type
Love
of
it.
joints. Yes. So to be a part of sort of what I feel is like the second wave of anime in America is really awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. I 100% grew up with Robotech Macross,
Yeah, man.
Vampire Hunter D,
Yeah.
Bubblegum Crisis, and I loved the music. And I think that that's something that anime did very well in the 80s and the 90s, which was like that perfect marriage of music and the animation.
Oh
Because you
yeah,
get
man.
you get a series like Bastard that was so heavily influenced by heavy metal and
Right.
like rock and roll, and then the modern, like they did that remake on Netflix, and it was kind of like animation style was good and it was very similar, but it didn't have that vibe for me. So
I have not seen it.
it's not bad. I think
Okay.
it's good. Like I said, if you liked the original series,
Yeah.
it's very good animation style. Like if you like, did you ever see the anime Berserk?
Is that on Netflix?
It used to be, I think. It's sort of,
Okay.
if you've seen Vinland Saga, which
Vinland
is
Saga is
on,
awesome. Yeah, yeah. Which
yeah,
is on
that's
that's on
amazing.
Hulu or Crunchyroll. Is it?
It was on. It's on Crunchyroll right now.
Okay, and the second season is about to drop or it already dropped?
It's current. I think it's currently going.
Okay, okay,
Because
right, yeah,
I know Bleach. I just started the second season, and I loved that.
right, yeah.
And I'm assuming you. How do you like? Did you like that when you got into that, or was that something that you loved that you read originally and got into it?
Bleach, I didn't know much about. A lot of actors who I had worked with before had been on Bleach. What I do like about Bleach now, because I've seen it, is that it is the show that I feel like stays uh, like they have. I don't know, they've recreated the vibe of old school anime to me, like with the style of animation. I know I'm not going to mention them, but some people have problems with newer iterations of older shows, but I feel like they did it.
Oh, you're right. It's like Samurai Champloo, or Samurai 7. Like those shows that were kind of like the early 2000s, late 90s,
Right,
where we were seeing the revolution. Like I think Samurai Champloo is, I think, and also Cowboy Bebop were like some of those shows that were very akin to that old school blend of music, animation style, and blending the action and the story to so much more.
right, yeah.
And I wish we get back to that. I think we're starting to. I think we're starting to,
We'll
but
see. Hopefully, who knows? Who knows which way the industry goes, man? I'm here for it though. Whatever happens, hopefully I'll be able to get in some of it.
I love it. I love the energy that you have. Like I said, when you brought yourself to the role, and I hear you, it's just like I hear it. Like I love it. It's such a very cool sound.
Right
Now
on, yeah.
I'm gonna question some of your live action stuff. What do you prefer doing? Do you prefer doing the voice acting roles, or do you prefer the live action stuff?
Oh man, it's all acting to me. You know, I really love animation because there's things you can do and there's characters can become and places that you can things you can do that you can't really do in like live action. Like you can be a chicken, or you can be, or you can be the eight tails or something like that. But I also love on camera acting because I mean, they're the same, but they're different in that in uh, cartoons and animation and voice work, we only have one instrument. Now, we do have the benefit of the amazing writers and animators who are really, who really prop us up. But you only get one tool. You get the voice. So we have to do everything in our capacity to relay to you, the audience member, what this person is, what they're thinking, what they're saying. But whereas when you're on camera, you can do stuff with just like your eyes or your face, and you don't have to say anything. So you use different parts of the instrument because as actors, our instrument is our body. So there's really awesome element to both.
I respect that. That's a great way of looking at it. I never really thought of it from that way. I have a lot of friends that have recently got into the voice acting field.
Hmm.
One of my friends, she does like a lot of storybooks, like she'll do like audiobooks. And another friend of mine, he does voiceover work like you do with like certain anime or TV shows.
Yep.
And the thing that they've always said was it was like they got nervous till once they realized it's like, oh, there's a microphone and they're not seeing my face. So
Right.
it's easier. There's like they're like if I'm in the same room with another actor, there's still like a wall between me and them, so
Yeah, they got yeah, yeah.
they don't see me. And I was like, well, doesn't it eliminate like your creativity? They're like, no, because like the things in my head, the story. Like
Yeah.
I have to, like you said, like you have to, you have to act, but even your acting, do they have like a monitor in front of you when you're so like if you're doing your lines?
You
Do
mean
they?
for animation?
Yes.
Okay, usually 90% of the time, here's what you have. You have a screen in front of you that shows what you're working on, and you have an iPad with your lines on it, and it's you by yourself in a room the majority of the time, and you have a director, on the other side of the booth, but on the other side of the glass, and sometimes it'll be a director and an engineer, and in very rare cases, there'll be the producers, you know, like Warner Brothers or Viz will be there, and they'll be like, you got to do it like this, or you got to do it like this, and you're just going over. I mean, you do a series of lines, but you really do it line by line because now they want everything isolated so that they can move it around themselves. And if they need to, you know, truncate it or speed it up, like they can take a phrase like, yo, over there, run and jump. And they can go, yo, over there, run and jump, you know, how they need it. So it's not like it used to be way, way back in the day where there were like a bunch of people in a room working off of each other. It's really just you, the director, and your imagination.
Wow. And from another interview I saw, this has been a role that you kind of been doing now for how many years? I think you said 9?
I think it's 11 years, not from 9 to
11.
11. Yeah, 11 years. And
Wow.
it's really amazing because as a voice actor, you don't get to do that much, you know what I'm saying? Because, and especially over several different iterations, you know, like from Shippuden to Boruto and all of the video games and the movies. So
Oh,
it's
so
really,
you've done the video games as well.
yeah, that's me in all
Wow.
the Naruto video games. But it's really a like it's like a spoil of riches, man, to be able to grow with a character as opposed to just like being on one season or one episode because a lot of shows don't last that long.
It's very true. You get what, 13 episodes maybe, or like if you're a movie, it's the one shot for the movie.
Right?
So you
Yeah.
don't really get to go or grow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here you can say you've literally grown with the role and with a character that I think is wildly popular. When I read the Japanese comic books and
Yeah.
I remember watching him in the show, I gravitated to him because I was like, yes, person of color like me.
Right.
He's a
Yeah. Yeah.
minority. He
Right.
gets
Yeah.
it, and I felt like it was like so cool because he blended two styles. Plus,
Right.
his
Yeah.
character is just unique and different anyway. So,
Right.
is that how you felt when you got to be that way with the role, or?
Well, it's really in retrospect because in at the beginning when you're doing it, you're just doing it. You're like, okay, let's figure out who B is. But it's like, you know, to be a person of color who is in an anime that is like a character that, again, like we were talking about, isn't like on 2 or 3 episodes. You go like, wow, because we didn't really have that as a kid. I mean, we had Jet Black, but it was like, is he a person of color? I mean, I know Bo Billingsley, my boy who plays my brother, the Red Kage on Naruto, did his voice, but he, you know, it was like maybe he is or maybe he isn't. But like
Mm.
Killer B was like, here's some hip hop, here's my cornrows, here's my flavor, and it was like it was really dope to see that and be a part of it.
And that's something I've noticed in the anime community. I've been a very big fan of anime for God, 30 plus years.
Right
And
on.
one of the things I remember was there was went to a panel, and it's been something that's blown up. Was a lot of people felt that characters of color in anime were never done well. Like it wasn't until like Tenjo Tenge when you had like Bob Makiyahara, who was like, and Chad or Sato Kun from Bleach, who were like these. Oh well, they're half black and half Japanese, or half black and like half Puerto Rican and half
Right.
Mexican,
Yeah.
and it's
Right. Yeah.
like it's like they're starting like we go back to Robotech. Bowie Grant, the son of Roy Fokker and his mom.
Were they? Were they?
She was they were together, and that was their son. Is the only character I remember growing up.
I don't
That
remember
was like
any.
the only. Yeah,
I
if you
don't
go,
remember
yeah,
anybody from Robotech. I'll go back. I'll revisit it.
because Rick,
Oh,
you have what? You had Rick Hunter, you had Max Sterling, you had Lin Min May. Those were like
right.
the main characters everybody
Yeah, yeah.
remembers. But then
Stage
Roy,
fright, go away.
oh, look at
This
that! Look at
is
that!
my lucky day. All right.
Oh man, you bringing it back?
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I remember like when I watched it was the Southern Cross, which was the one of the spin-off series of Robotech, which
Right.
was not very well known here in
I
America.
don't think I know about it.
Yeah, it was like I remember they released it in Japan, and then it got a limited run in Canada,
Okay.
and it was like and that was when like I think DIC was the company up there that was like doing a lot of the voiceover work.
Deke. I
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
Deke.
At the end, it would pop up. Yeah.
Yep, and
Yeah.
they did like Mozapita, which was like oh god, the Invid Invasion.
Okay.
Again, another release that was splinter off of Macross,
Oh wow.
and I remember seeing those on VHS tapes, and Bowie Grant was like, he's like, well, my dad Roy, he died in the very. I was like, what, your dad? Like, huh? Like, you're the first character of color that I'm seeing in this whole series that's not
Right.
Rick
Yeah.
Hunter,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you're not a Zentradi. Oh my goodness!
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And again, being a kid, it's like it's something I always say that now we see so much representation, and it's so wildly needed. You know, as
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
dad, I love it for my kids
For
because
sure. Yeah.
we didn't have a Spider-Man. I got a Spider-Man now. I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yay, I get a Spider-Man.
Miles Morales. Yeah. Well, now everybody's got a Spider-Man
Exactly.
from the last joint. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. It's like, what, you want a cowboy Spider-Man? You got a cowboy Spider-Man.
That's right. Yeah.
You want an Indian Spider-Man? We got you too.
Right on. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: who's your favorite superhero? Like when you were growing up, who was your favorite superhero, or who is it your favorite superhero now? If they're the same person.
I love Batman. I guess because that Michael Keaton Batman just hit me as a kid, man, and it was like, what is this? And yeah, Batman's my favorite superhero. Although comic wise, because I do read. I mean, I don't read comics that much anymore, but I still have some of the comics I had when I was a kid. X-Men. I love an Outcast story. I think that's why Naruto does so well. But yeah, I love the X-Men, man. And Nightcrawler was my favorite. I don't know why. When I was a kid, he really appealed to me for some reason. It might have been the blue or the fingers. I don't know.
The fingers, the blue,
Yeah.
the sword, and the teleportation.
The Bamf, yeah. As a
Bamf.
kid, I was like, hey, he's dope.
And you know what? Yeah, you are the second guest I've talked to today that has mentioned Nightcrawler as one of their favorite inspirational characters, which is awesome because I had a teacher on earlier who I said, who are your three favorite characters? And she's like, well, Wonder Woman, obviously, because she had a beautiful Alex Ross Wonder Woman picture behind her.
Okay, right.
Damn. And then she's like, Nightcrawler. And I was like, Nightcrawler, I liked him. But, everybody always gravitates to Wolverine or Gambit, Cyclops, Beast. But Nightcrawler, I think, is
I don't know why. It was maybe because he had the Thriller jacket on, I don't know what it was. Yeah.
Oh man. So Batman 89, Michael Keaton is one of your like he got you.
Yeah, I had those toys. It was like it was the black leather suit, and I guess it was the world that Tim Burton created, and Jack Nicholson was such an amazing Joker. It was just like through the eyes of a kid, it was just like perfect. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you, and I love the fact that you pick an Outcast story because I think that we speak to that as like growing up as some kids. Like I was the nerdy kid that eventually got into sports because I got big.
Right. Yeah.
And I was no longer an outcast, but I think that Outcast story, like in Naruto, really does hit home. So I gotta ask: are you team Naruto or are you team Uchiha? Are you Sasuke?
Oh man, never Sasuke, bro. We had the epic battle. Killer B is the first dude to humble Sasuke, and if it wasn't for those his pesky friends, I don't think he would be in Boruto right now. So I'm team Naruto. Of course.
That's fire. Now I gotta ask: now we went from there? Are you team Boruto or are you team Kawaki?
Oh man, Boruto. I haven't watched all of Boruto. I gotta be honest.
Well, I read the manga, so
right, yeah.
So I'm gonna say if you haven't watched that far, which is good,
right?
Because I think it's getting to that. It's doing they're getting ready to do a time jump.
Well, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna do it's really gonna be a spinoff. It's gonna be whose story is it gonna be?
What Wasn't it Kawaki that was going to get the spinoff?
No. It's who's gonna get a spinoff? It's gonna be like an 18 episode thing. Um, I don't know. I forget, man. But yeah, it's not gonna be really Boruto's story anymore. I think
Well, it's
Sasuke.
good.
I think it's gonna be Sasuke. I think it's gonna be Sasuke.
Well, it's good because I mean it's just from reading the manga and watching the show, you could tell that Boruto was kind of leaning towards my dad's the boss, yeah, but like this dude that was his rival is going to teach me, and
Right.
it was
Yeah.
great to see that. And then you find out the whole process of like him having the spirit inside of him, that him and Kawaki now have that rivalry, and then like
Yeah.
they switch their lives.
Yeah.
I love that. That's another good Outcast story. So I kind of like that you went to Team Naruto because
Right on.
I was not a fan. I love Jiraiya, love Jiraiya,
Who's your
love Kakashi.
who's your favorite Naruto character?
I'm biased because I have a curse seal tattoo on my shoulder.
Okay.
So Sasuke would be my favorite, but I would have to say that when I first got into the show, I loved Sasuke.
Right.
As it progressed, I loved Jiraiya and Naruto's dynamic because I felt like Naruto, like me not having my dad around for a long time, I get Naruto's like looking for like an Iruka in Kakashi, in like Jiraiya. He's looking for like that Minato, that father role.
Right. Yeah.
And I kind of like I vibe with that because it's like, you know, he was the guy that I want to be the best. I'm gonna be the best. You know, even though Konohamaru right now like stepped up big time, you know, I never would have expected that, like Konohamaru like being the next, wanting to be the next Hokage, but I mean he's in that line. But
Right.
yeah, I have to say for me it was Sasuke at first, still Sasuke and Boruto, but Naruto definitely is like tied,
Right on.
and then I gotta go like God, I gotta go Boruto in the series because I love Kawaki's idea, but I love Boruto.
Right
Like I
on.
love that he's just like that rival with that. He's like that rebel without a cause. Like
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be like I'm gonna be a jerk because I'm gonna be the jerk. And he has a
Right on.
sister, and but he's still protective of his family,
Right
which I
on.
think is dope too.
Well, you're going to be happy because I think they're taking one of the arcs from the manga, and that's what they're doing with Sasuke for Boruto.
Which is gonna be dope because I love that he lost his arm and that he's kind of like had that story from the movie, and I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Full circle, yeah, for sure, for sure.
You need to, and I think that's very like sorry,
Cyclical,
yeah, cyclical. Thank you,
cyclical, yeah.
thank you. It needs to be. It's that cycle. We need that story arc to continue the main story. I don't want to time jump again without us
Right.
knowing why we're doing the jump.
Who knows? We'll see.
You know.
We'll see.
So I have to ask this question. You're into anime. You're into superheroes. You've done this voiceover work. You've done all this stuff. Have you ever gone to like conventions and done any of the convention? Like,
Yeah, man. I mean, I went to Comic-Con as a you know, just like a civilian before I was ever like invited to any cons. So yeah, I have been also, you know, in the past couple of years, been very privileged to go to a lot of cons around America and meet some really cool fans. And yeah.
have you gone? Are you looking to ever go back into it? Like, are they, or is it because of work right now that you're not going? That you're not like kind of doing any of the tours right now?
Yeah, well, you know, with all the stuff that's going on, I'm not at Comic-Con this year, so we'll
I
see.
know.
Hopefully everything will work out. Hopefully everything will work out, and
Yeah,
I'll be at
that
Comic-Con. I'll be at Comic-Con next year.
oh, you need to. You need to. We want to see you back. Heck, I want you
Right
to
on.
come to North Carolina, dude. They get you. We have so many anime cons here. I'd love for you. My daughter,
Yeah,
she's 13 and she's huge into anime.
nice.
And I've been wanting to. My wife is and I are teachers,
Oh,
and
right on.
we like to. I've been trying to introduce a lot more pop culture, anime, and manga into the classroom before I stepped away. My wife is doing her, like I said, I called her an underachiever before as a joke because she's on her going for her third master's and eventually now a doctorate because she's just that smart.
Wow.
Makes me feel dumb. Exactly.
What was
And
her what was her thesis on?
she's I don't know what's the babe. What's your thesis on now? She's not currently working on one yet.
I did my last professional project was my literacy in the content areas, but that was a presentation more than a thesis.
Look, my guests are asking you questions. Don't you feel special? She's usually she's shy. She doesn't like getting in front of the camera, but I love when she does. But she gets like that confidence because she totally is killing it. But she's actually looking to do like kind of something what I do, which is like anime, like integrating like somebody going to an anime con and like interviewing voice actors, and it's difficult for some kids to get out of their like their fanboy or fangirl phase. But we were like, what could we do if we had a kid go to a con and like part of like a scavenger hunt of questions is like you'll interview and ask like 3 questions to like a voice actor. So like if you were like at the booth and somebody like said, hey, like this little girl walks up to you and is like, hey, what got you started? Yeah, right. I think that'd be cool. How would you respond to that? Like if somebody like you get like I'm a middle schooler. I'm gonna walk up to you and like you can see them beaming because they're like, it's Killer B.
Right
Yeah,
on.
they're having that moment.
Yeah.
How would you react to seeing that? Like a kid come up to you and ask you some questions. How would that make you feel?
That would be awesome. Because the kids ask so many questions when I'm at the cons, man. And sometimes, well, there's two types here. There's ones that want to talk and they want to know everything, and then there's the kids that just kind of go, and then as soon as they leave, they got like 15 questions in their brain. Yeah.
And I bet you that'd be my daughter. She'd walk up to you and she'd be like, she'd look at like the question she had written down, right? And then she'd walk away and be like, oh man. And we'd be like, what? Well, I wanted to know like what got him started. Well, why didn't you ask him that? Oh man. So let me ask you this. Do you feel that in this advent of where everybody can get everything at the push of a button,
right,
has it made that kind of interaction for you a little difficult as a person as an attendee for as a guest at cons? Like, is that an issue?
No, because here's the thing that makes cons really awesome for me is like, so as a voice actor, it's just you in a room and you don't really know like if people are enjoying what you're doing. So if you're a stage actor, you get an immediate, yay, applause from the audience. Whereas for us, we never really know. I mean, if the show's popular, you find out. But for me, like going and meeting fans and, like having them be a part of the experience of the thing that they love is like the applause for me. And, they're like, it's like them giving a, what's the word? Like verification or something. Where
Yeah, like
approval. Yeah, for sure.
Now here's the fun question. Since you're into anime, have you ever cosplayed?
I've never cosplayed. No, I've never cosplayed. I've thought about dressing up like Killer B, but it's just I've seen some really amazing cosplay. Hey, what's going on? My neighbor. I've seen some really awesome cosplaying of Killer B, and I'm like, I don't have first off the skills to do that, and I don't have the patience to like. I've seen some really awesome ones.
Nice.
That's not my skill.
Oh, trust me, I know the same. I'm the same. So we have a question too.
Okay.
Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
I was like saying, I don't want to like pay somebody thousands of dollars to make me a Killer B outfit.
Exactly. I wear a T-shirt with I get a $25 T-shirt. I'll rock that.
That's right. That's right.
Support.
Yeah.
So my friend here, Mega Demon Collects, says, I have a question. Who was your favorite character you voiced in anime?
Other than Killer B.
Killer B.
Because Killer B is my favorite. I've told this story before. A really awesome moment for me. I did this character in Superman versus the Elites, one of the DC the cartoon movies. I did co-cast, and for me that was like an amazing moment because as a kid I always wanted to do superhero stuff, and so I don't know if you know how the process of recording an animation film goes. Is first you go into a room and it's just you by yourself, and they give you the script and you look at the script and you say it, and then you go away for like a year, and then they come back with like partially animated and the things, and Like some of it'll be almost like, stencils without any color. And I looked at that and I was beating up Superman. And I had it was almost like an out of body experience. I was like, this is what I wanted as a kid,
That's awesome.
And it was like a really amazing moment. And I think I called my dad that day. It was like really special. So co-casting Superman versus the Elites was really fun. And plus, he's another enigmatic, crazy, wild character
Oh,
that
definitely.
talks a lot of smack,
So does Killer
which I
Bee.
love. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wait, so this is somebody that didn't know that. Yeah, I kept this one a very low key secret. I wanted to surprise you guys. Yes, this is the voice of Killer Bee in Boruto.
Yes,
He's
for
done
sure. Yeah.
the same. This is the same gentleman who's done all his voice acting, including the video games, folks. Which I am very surprised because a lot of people it's difficult. I know that there's a lot of people that don't like to get locked into the video games. Like Vin Diesel didn't ever touch doing Groot
Right.
in the video games. They always had somebody else voice it or Bradley Cooper. I like the
I
fact that you've been involved.
I love video games. I've been playing since I was a kid. There's no way you could kick me out of a video game if it
Like,
was
wait, I get to do
available.
it?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So let me ask this: what's your favorite video game?
Oh man, right now? Right
We'll go to
now?
right now. We'll go to right now.
Okay, I just finished oh man, what's the Jedi? Is it Jedi Order?
Oh, okay. So wait, there's Survivor, which is the new one,
The
and then
Survivor,
there's
yeah.
you just
I,
don't tell me about it because I got to play it.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I got kids and I got work, so it's like your dad. You game when you can, man. It used to back in
Oh
the day.
heck yes.
Back in the day, Grand Theft Auto 100%, but now it's like, okay, I'll finish the main story and then I'll see. But I also always I'll jump in on Grand Theft Auto
Oh yeah, I
every
love
now
it.
and then, yeah, for sure. But
PlayStation 5 or Xbox?
PlayStation 5.
Oh, we may have
Yeah.
to exchange. We may have to exchange some gamer tags here and play
All
together.
good, for sure. All good, all good.
Let's see. Who is your favorite? Mega Demon's hitting you with a lot of questions. I love this. He says, "Who is your favorite fellow voice actor that you got to work with?"
That I've gotten to work with?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. My favorite that I've gotten to work with, I love Bo. He's awesome. But my favorite voice actor, like my idol, and I've gotten to meet him. I don't think I've ever. I have worked with him. Worked him on Craig of the Creek, Phil Lamar. Like that's my idol, dude. Like anybody who asks, he's done everything, and he's awesome at everything. Yeah.
That's like the Peter Cullens, of the universe. Like it's like you only get one Optimus Prime.
Right. Yeah.
We had Kevin Conroy. He was rest in peace. The
Kevin
one
Conroy
Batman.
is Batman. He's Batman. Period.
You can't mess with that.
He's the quintessential Batman. He's done it
Yes,
more than anybody. Yeah.
because you had Bruce Greenwood, you've had Jensen Ackles, you've had I forgot the other gentleman that did the Batman cartoon series, which is actually really good on the WB.
Okay. Right.
There was all those guys, but Kevin Conroy, after meeting him,
Yeah.
and years ago I got to meet him. He's hands down.
Yeah.
Like Mark Hamill is quintessentially the Joker.
The Joker, man. Yeah, he took the Joker. He did with the Joker what I don't think has ever really been done on screen. And he brought the what I think is on the page onto the screen.
I mean, hands down. Did you ever see the one Mark Hamill did, the soliloquy? He goes off on that whole soliloquy that's taken from the comic of The One Bad Day.
No.
Where where Barbara Gordon gets shot because Joker finds out Barbara is Batgirl.
Batgirl.
And he shoots her, and then he goes to Gordon, and he has Gordon, and I'll never forget reading it in the comic and then seeing it animated. It's when he goes into the whole speech from word for word, line for line from the comic. It is so creepy, and it's done in this great way to just make you think damn, for a second, I get why anybody can shift. Like why Batman hasn't made that shift and Batman walks that line.
Right, yeah.
Joker toes that. Joker is gonna jump over and do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But It's anybody. He's like, I can push you to that one point where I would make you think twice to kill me.
Yeah.
And it's
No.
like, damn, it's a very. Why am I blanking on?
Yeah.
The
Where's
Killing
it
Joke?
from?
It's The Killing Joke.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was one of the movies.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
If you ever get the
haven't seen it.
opportunity, sit and watch it. It is. I think it's a master class
Okay.
on doing stuff. Like whenever I've seen anybody say that they've never read a comic book, but like now Marvel are starting to do that. Like a lot of actors are like reading the comics, they're getting that interest. I think that I believe it helps you. Do you believe that like getting into the source material for the role helps you?
I do, but I do also think that I mean, just for me, because I really enjoy comics. I think that the more you know about the character, the better it would be. Just for me as an actor, but I think some actors, it may hinder them. You know, if they feel that they're being pigeonholed into like some sort of way. You know, for it you know, different actors work in different ways. Some people do a lot of prep, some people uh go off the cuff. So for me it would be for me it's great to know as much as possible, but for some people they just like to wing it.
Yeah, that's so. I would say I do that a lot. My friends make jokes saying that like, you sound so prepared, Dre. Like you always get these great questions and you do all this. I'm like, you would be surprised sometimes. I just sit there and just like pull it right out of my butt. Like, but that's a teacher in me. That's always you got to be prepared. But then I
Right
have to
on.
have the backup plan. Like I did not expect us to have the hiccups we were gonna have today. So I was
Right,
like,
yeah.
oh crap, how do we do this? And it's awesome. So I want to know if getting into this industry has got to be tough. I assume more now than ever it'd be tougher. Is there a lot of competition in the voice acting field? And if
Y-
so, what would you tell somebody new, brand new to it that's like, hey, I want to get into this? Would you recommend it to them?
You know, I would recommend anybody do something that they're passionate about and something that they love, because anything is hard that's worth doing. You know, if you want to be a writer, if you want to be a, I don't know, a musician, don't let anything hold you back and get used to a bunch of no's. That's just life, man. But I don't know if it's any harder now than it was, I don't know, 40, 50, 20 years ago. All I know is that I love doing it. And if you love doing it, you should do it and don't let anybody stop you.
Are you a firm believer in that if it's fun and you're doing it, it's not even work?
Heck yeah, man. You know, I always tell young people that what you should do is figure out what you love and become amazing at it, create value for yourself, and convince people to pay you to do it. There's nothing, and it's not work. What I do is not work, man. What I do, I love. And sometimes I'll be like in a booth and I'll be on set and I'll go, "Uh, uh, thank you, God. Thank you, universe, because this is the most amazing thing ever." You know, yeah.
That's I love hearing this because I wish I was back in the classroom because I've taken 3 years away
Right.
to raise our youngest.
All right
So
on.
my wife's been going to school and doing a bang up job that she is. I'm blessed to have her,
Yeah.
and I would love to have had you come into the classroom, if not even virtually, just to talk
Right
to my
on.
kids because I taught in a Title I school, and my
Okay.
wife taught there. She just now moved to a different school, but I would love to have you talk to our kids at some point, and maybe you and I will be able to set that up when she's back
Yeah.
in the
Whenever.
classroom
Yeah. For sure.
because I would love for you to come and talk to these kids because I think that they get this view that's like I want to do this and I'm gonna try, and then they're like, maybe I don't. But like you said, like they don't want to put the effort in, or I think they think it's so easy that it's like,
Right.
oh, I can if he can do it, shoot, I can do it.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, nothing's easy. Nothing is easy except laying down and going to sleep. And sometimes that's hard.
Well, I
But
got arthritis, so trust me, I know that ain't easy getting up. I grunt when my littlest one, she laughs because she's 3 and she copies everything that I do. If
yeah,
I get up, I'm like, she's just like, and you ain't got nothing wrong with you at 3 years old.
That's
but
right.
she does. And I said she's gonna be in kindergarten, and they're gonna be like, "Why do you grunt like that, Lorelai?" And she's just gonna be like, "My daddy." I'm gonna be like, "I'm sorry."
Right on.
So, what do your kids, are they into anime, or your
Yeah,
your wife, are they into it?
my daughter is not into anime. My son really loves anime. He's the one he was like, you got to watch Vinland Saga. I was like, what's Vinland Saga? He's like, it's about Vikings and stuff. I was like, it's anime about Vikings. But yeah, he's like, he has a greater wealth of knowledge about anime than I do. Uh, and he's like my consultant. I'm like, hey, what about this? What about this? Because I'm writing, working on developing an anime manga myself, and he's like my litmus test. And I'm like, what is this? He's like, no, man, that's too much like this. And he's like, oh, this is like this. Okay, yeah, this is good. Maybe you should do this. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So now, I do have another question. Mega Demon, man, you hit home runs today, I swear. He says, "Who else did you voice? Do you voice in anime?" Now, obviously, we know he voices Killer B. He did
hmm
mention that. Well, who was it that you voiced in Bleach: Thousand Year War?
I do Oetsu Nimaya in Bleach, Thousand Years Blood War. On Cannon Busters on Netflix, I play Bob Bob. Also in Naruto, I play Darui. I am, oh man, I forgot his name. I've done so many characters on Naruto, like Hidden Leaf Village, Ninja Number 7, or stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I love it. So you get to be Killer B, and then we're like, well, do you change? Obviously, you change the voice up
Yeah,
slightly,
yeah,
or do you?
yes,
So,
yeah. But
that'd be hilarious.
the main two in Naruto I do are Darui and Killer B.
So, see, Mega Demon, I hope that answers your question. Now, I want to ask him this one because I am a huge fan, and I've been doing a lot of backstage work to come up with my own comic, and it's something that I'm working with a couple of my artist friends to do.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is that a process for you to do, to be that, to channel that creativity, to do that, and find like something that you is almost original, where like you said, like your son's your litmus test. How
Right.
hard is
Yeah.
that process?
Well, being creative is being creative. And I've written a comic before. It's available on Amazon. It's called LA 3000. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, it's the digital version is. And I've written films and messed around with TV stuff. But I sort of began it because I've been going to all these cons, especially I went to MomoCon in Atlanta, and there was a thirst and people wanted like manga and anime with more people of color, and I was like, oh man, I want that too. So I sort of like took the aesthetic and the vibe of Killer Bee and how it's based in the culture of hip hop and expanded it into a bigger story, and just developing it right now with some folks. It's called Go Go Mode. And I don't know. Again, if you find it's like sometimes it's a spark of inspiration that you find, and you go, "Oh, that's interesting." You want to develop it, and it's only as hard as you make it. Because for me, it's like discovering a character. You have to pull back the layers and find out what's behind it, and it's the curiosity that drives it.
I mean, that's awesome because you look at inspiration, like I look at Wu Tang, and they were so huge inspiration in that the blending of the martial arts and the in anime in a lot of ways,
It
because
was
they built
crazy,
their own
yeah.
they built their own comic book series where they were the characters,
Yeah, man, yeah.
and it was anime inspired. Look at Boondocks. The Boondocks, oh my goodness! If that's not the true blend of anime and hip hop culture
Right, yeah, yeah.
for the modern era,
For
I don't
sure,
know
yeah.
what is.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome, and again, I would love when this series comes out to get to the chance to talk to you about it and see it, because I too, again, like we said, I love representation, and I
Right, for
love
sure.
seeing that, because we don't, coming from New York, being multiracial,
Right, yeah.
and people suddenly were like, oh well, you like Batman, so you like, Batman can be white. Well, now if you read the current DC continuity, Batman's black.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
He's Lucius Fox's son.
Right.
He
Yeah.
ain't the good one. He's the one that went to the military that got a little bit off, and he's doing Batman. And I love the fact that he wears a guard over his mouth, so
Yeah.
people can't tell that it's not Bruce Wayne, it's him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that inspiration, and I'm loving seeing that representation in other media, like where we see in like Iris West in The Flash is black, and they've kept that continuity from the TV show into the movie. You know, are you noticing that becoming more of a prevalent thing that we're seeing in media?
Yeah. I mean, more than before, I see a lot of people of color in comics and movies, and I think it's awesome. I think that comics should look like the world looks, and I would like, I want more like new characters. You know what I'm saying? I love I love what they did with Batman and how they got a black Superman, but I really would like new stuff. You know what I'm saying? I want to see who the next African American or Pacific Islander superhero or Native American superhero pull from some of their lores. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really cool in like the 90s when X-Men, I feel like X-Men had like some of everybody, dude, and like everything was in there. So so that the comic world reflects the real world.
And I think that's what we're seeing. Like you said, like I've noticed, like Nyla Rose. I don't know if you're into professional wrestling, but Nyla Rose, she's Native American,
Right.
and she's trans, which I think is awesome that she's representing two different worlds. And
Right on.
she
Is
did.
she
did
WWE?
No, she's AEW. She's
Okay,
the other,
AEW. Okay,
the other
right.
So she actually went and did wrote a side story for Alex Proudstar, which we all know as Warpath.
Right.
And that was because she's Native American, and she was like, I want to do something about my culture. And I thought that was really cool. And that's something that we don't always see is Native American stuff. We
Right,
see a
yeah.
lot of, like, like you said, we see, like, it's great you want to take a character that pre-exists and change their race. But what about the next character?
Yeah,
Like,
man.
who would be the next African American or even Pacific Islander? When you say that, I was like, oh man, he's got to check out the new. It's a new series in DC called City Boy, a Korean orphan who stumbles across this device, and it merges his body, his soul, with the soul of the city, and it's all based in hip hop culture. The kid dresses like in hip hop. It's a Korean kid. And I
City
was
Boy.
like,
It's a
yeah,
DC.
City Boy. Yeah, I'll send you a picture on Instagram so you can see the cover.
For sure. Yeah.
It is, dude. It's like on the third issue, and I'm like, damn, this is fire. Like, the kid is like, you underestimated my power. Like, the city is my domain.
Right
And
on.
he can like traverse it. He can teleport through it. It'll attack things for him. And I was like, yo, that's a sleeper hit hero. Like,
right, yeah.
And then they started doing another character who is Spirit. I forgot, she's Chinese, and she is fighting alongside Constantine because she could see the spirit world, and she stops like the spirit world from entering into our world through magic, through a sword. And there's a lot of, I'm starting to see more and more that like companies are starting to step out of that comfort zone.
Right, yeah.
I like that because it makes me want to step out. Like, Cyborg's finally getting his own like full run series.
Right. Has he never had a series before?
Not a long stretch for one. Like Steel, right now they're calling it like a new era in like DC, where they're taking some of the older characters and some newer ones and mixing them up to kind of give a new polish to them.
Right
like
on.
Cyborg, I think we needed one because of the whole Justice League movie. Like, we only saw him in the movie. He was supposed to get his own movie. He's not.
I know, man. Yeah.
Which that hurts because I was like, man, Cyborg's cool. He's a cool character. I loved him in Teen Titans. I loved him in Titans. I loved him in Doom Patrol. It's like, give him his own series. And now they're starting to. Steel is now getting his own series. And I'm like, that's cool. Because, Shaq gave us the movie.
Right.
But I need a little bit more than we got. We got him in Lois and Superman and
Right.
Lois.
Yeah.
We get him in there, but I'm like, we get him now as his own character. So, do you draw any other inspiration for your comic book style of art? Like, are you looking at like an anime style?
Oh,
Are you looking at
it's anime style, yeah, for sure. I mean, it lives in the same world that Bleach and Naruto or anything like that lives in. But for me, it all really it's about the story and how good and compelling that can be. And it's about these three kids, and they find this ancient artifact that gives them like a special power. I mean, they're from smaller villages, and they each have their own powers, and then they come in this main square, and they all go to school. And yeah, I'll save it, but yeah, it's all really about story for me, because everything else is aesthetic accoutrement. If you don't have an amazing story and you don't have connections and growth and arcs, then there's nothing there. You might as well just watch some old stuff.
No, you're 100% right. It's so difficult to your world building this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I love that because I play Dungeons and Dragons, so world
Oh,
building
right
is
on.
like, world building is one of the things as a dungeon master, as a player,
Yeah,
you build to build your character,
for sure.
and you're doing that now. So that's gotta be fun to sit there and
Yeah,
say, we're doing this, and this is you're trying, like you said, to draw those different influences.
yeah.
So what, besides this great idea that I cannot wait to see come to fruition, what other things are you currently working on that are coming down the pipe that we should expect to see?
Just Bleach, man. It's work pause for me for a while, so this gives me a really great opportunity and a great chance to put my focus on writing and putting go-go mode together. So for the next few months, hopefully I'll be able to have that conceptualized and finished, because I have the story done, and we're doing a lot of the pre-visualization of the characters and what the world looks like. Yeah.
Are you thinking about bringing that to any conventions coming next year? I know that
We'll see. No,
a lot of
yeah,
the comic book companies are starting to try to get these ideas out for next year. Are you looking to maybe bring that next year?
100%. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. 'Cause I know BlurredCon just got pushed back, which was a big Atlanta con that they were trying to do. Not BlurredCon, it was Urban Con. They
Right.
were
Yeah.
looking at they got pushed to next March or April, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's like a 2 or 3 hour drive for me. So I might actually want to check that out. And I know a lot of creators were like looking to go there, and I was like, man,
Right on.
if I see you on that list, yes, I will put my ass in a seat to go see it.
Where is Urban Con?
It's gonna be in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. Right on.
That's what I know they're doing, and then I know BlurredCon is huge, and
That just happened in DC,
yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're already looking to start. I actually want to do a panel there. I'm thinking of trying to sign up to do a panel because I'd love to talk about the teaching experience of bringing this life into the classroom of graphic novels and pop culture
All
and
right.
music, and talking about it from the minority perspective, because I've seen several people like that are white talk about it, and I think that's great, but I want to talk about it from the perspective of being the minority that's working in this, like with these kids that didn't see this and are now
Right.
seeing it out there. So
Cause,
I'd love
cause
to do that.
we as minorities, man, we love comics, and we love sci-fi and stuff like that, man. I know I did as a kid, and
Oh
to
yeah,
see and to but all I had was like Luke Skywalker and those folks. I mean, I had Lando, but he was like on the side being cool.
yeah.
But
We have Mace Windu later. We got Mace Windu in the
right, yeah.
2000s. So
That's right. Yeah. By the way, my favorite Jedi, I have a signed Sam Jackson Mace Windu that says, "Catero, may the Force be with you." Again, I'm a fan. I'm a nerd. But yeah. So wait, what was your question?
no, I was saying, like, as going into the future, we see this adaptation of us as minorities bringing this stuff out. when you
Right.
see more, do you want, besides seeing it now and knowing that you are bringing this in with your kids, right?
Yeah.
Do you want your kids to like further involve themselves in a project with you to do this later on too, like going into the future?
I don't know, man. I want my kids to do. I want them to find what they love, and pursue that. Again, I'm not going to try to make my kids get into the entertainment industry. Although I've asked them, hey, do you want to be an actor? Maybe. I don't know. But again, they should find out what they love, and then convince people to pay them for it.
I absolutely love this time that I've gotten to spend with you. I feel like I've known you for years. Like I one of the things I try to pride myself on when I do my show is like I love the comfortable atmosphere,
Oh,
and
yeah, for sure. It's been awesome.
I love, brother. I love your attitude and your mindset. It's definitely something I want to see more people have, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing your work. I'm looking forward to you getting back in the field. Hopefully, everything gets better with what's going on. I know that it sucks, but
I'm sure.
everybody has a path.
I'm sure they'll work it out, man. It's I
Oh
don't,
yeah.
I have no. It has nothing to do with me. So I'll just wait. I'll just wait.
And again, my friend, where can we find you? Like I found you
Right.
through some awesome ways on social media, but where can we find you to follow any of your upcoming projects and currently what you're working on? Where can we find you on social?
I'm on Instagram, Catero TV, and Facebook. I think it's Catero Colbert, Catero Lane Colbert, and I have an Instagram, but I rarely use it, and I think it's Catero TV and TikTok, but I'm never on there, man. But yeah, Instagram mostly and Facebook.
And folks, this is 2 times you saw my ugly mug, but you get to see awesome people with me today. I cannot speak to my guests how awesome they've made my day. And Catero, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you for
Appreciate you,
taking the
Dre.
time with us. And guys, we're gonna leave him here with awesomeness. We said positivity your way and look forward to seeing more of your work.
You
And as
too,
always,
brother.
my friends, peace.
Peace. See y'all later. Thank you, Dre.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.